Hey guys, this is HD. Welcome back, and man, it's time for game number 5. It's time for the final ace match between these two players, Zoc and Damaga. And what a series this has been! It has been back and forth, 2-2 currently so far. If you guys have not seen this series, I highly recommend you guys stop this video, go back and watch every single game because it has been an absolute brawl to the death to every single last unit for both these players, and they have shown why they are the cream of the crop at the top. And you know, these two players are just so amazingly talented that it is so finely balanced on a knife's edge, whichever player wins these games. And you know, so far every game has been a macro game. I'm so excited to see what's going to happen here. I do want to mention that Damaga did kind of drop the ball in the last game, in my opinion. I feel like he had many opportunities to exploit and win the game, but his passiveness, his inability to attack when things needed to be done, I feel like maybe his indecisiveness kind of cost him last game. I'm not sure, but that is my opinion, and I don't know. We'll see what happens this game. Obviously, Damaga the loser. The Zerg player gets to pick the next map, which is this one. It is Crevasse, Tomato, which is an interesting map. I'll point out some of these features to you guys. Namely, it is a big map, as you guys can see, as all the new maps are in the GSL. Very big, macro-oriented maps. Now, the natural expansion is also a key point to note. The ramp is very large. Now, there are rocks that cover and narrow down this ramp to a normal-sized ramp, but once those rocks are destroyed, it becomes a much larger ramp, something more like a scrap station-style ramp. So that's an interesting thing to note. Also interesting to note is the natural expansion only has one gas. This is a very safe natural to grab. It's inside your main, inside your own ramp. So it does favor macro style play, but this one gas is a rich Vespene geyser, which means that you actually need to put less drones on this geyser to accumulate the same number of gas intake that you would get for 2 geysers. So it actually helps players who want to go for a gas intensive build to start things off to just grab this gas, and they don't have to invest 6 drones or 6 probes. They just need to invest 3 apiece. The other thing to note is there are 4 Xel'Naga watchtowers, as a lot of these big maps actually have. And I think that's all the things. Oh no, there's one more thing as well. There are these rocks out here which kind of cover the natural expansion right here. And this natural is a standard natural. It is actually the place where most players opt to get their third. Now there is a big ramp here. These rocks actually provide another avenue of attack for enemy players. So towards the mid to late game, oftentimes these rocks will be destroyed, and it allows another avenue for players to kind of flood in and hit that third expansion. And that's something that players will kind of do towards the later stages of these games. So rocks play a huge role on this map, Crevasse. And immediately, getting back to this game at hand, Damaga actually has 1 gas. And the only gas he's got is the one here at this rich Vespene geyser. So he is getting the same gas intake as he would for 2 gases. And he looks to be going for a pretty standard build here. I'm not exactly sure what he's going to do. Meanwhile, Zergling's also kind of covering the map at key locations, grabbing those Xel'Naga watchtowers. A Stalker and a Zergling going to encounter each other. The Stalker is going to quickly push that Zergling away, and it looks like it's going to go on its own little path. And at the Protoss base, we do have a pretty much complete wall off here. Note that is dependent on the rocks still being there. And a Nexus also going up at this back location and immediately grabbing the high gas yield, which means there's going to be maximum gas intake for Zoc here. So he may opt to go for Stargate at some point in this game, early on. We'll see. Looks like a Stalker here going to be aggressive, and it is going to push these Zerglings away. And Damaga quickly getting a Spine Crawler up just to help defend. These Zerglings do not have speed, though, which makes them a little bit vulnerable to Stalkers that are well microed. But they are quite speedy on the creep, but without that speed bonus, they will not be able to pick off these Stalkers. And Zoc just content to kind of walk around the map with these two and retain map control, prevent these Xel'Naga towers. This one being one of the most key Xel'Naga watchtowers, this one also being almost as important. And those watchtowers are going to be absolutely vital for these players to control. Meanwhile, back inside the main, we have 2 more gateways getting thrown up. So it looks to be some kind of a... Well, essentially, Zoc has gone for 1 gate into Nexus, and you can do that because this map is so closed off and the natural is so easily grabbed. And then he's going to throw up his 2 gateways. So it looks to be a pretty standard play from Zoc. Damaga, meanwhile, has quite a bit of speedlings He may decide to break down these rocks, but thankfully with Stalkers, he should be able to prevent. Oh no! The Zerglings have been allowed to run inside. I was gonna say the Stalkers should be able to prevent the Zerglings from running in the ramp, but Zoc actually leaving a gap there, allowing some of the Zerglings to get in. If this force field goes down, about 5 more Zerglings are gonna be allowed inside the main, and that could be bad. Probes getting pulled off the line now, and Zoc in huge amounts of trouble. This can cost a player the game. Just a mistake like this is so devastating, and these probes are going to be forced to fend for themselves. Zealots immediately warping in, the emergency rescue Zealots, but the Zealots will not be able to do much because these Zerglings are so fast. They can run immediately over to the natural expansion and continue their molestation of these probes. Oh my goodness, Zoc is in so much trouble. He's losing so much mining time. 31 probes under 35 right now, and that number is going to continue to diminish. These Zerglings are doing absolutely tremendous amounts of damage. And right back over on that production tab, we do have a Spire coming up, so no doubt Dammaka can go straight into Mutalisk here. He has about 500 gas saved up almost, so he's going to have about 5 or 6 Mutas coming out. And these Zerglings have done the damage they needed to do. Oh my god. Each one, remember, costing 25 minerals, but they were worth their weight by about 5 times, just based on how much harass they did, the scouting they did, and the mining time they forced Zoc to lose. And once again, more Zerglings busting down the rocks at the front. This ramp, excuse me, has been fully exposed now. Thankfully, Zoc does have warp gates here to protect this front location, so it does look like it's a Zergling-proof wall, but immediately we have Mutalisk beginning to come out of the hatcheries, and the flock in the air is about to rain down damage below. And unfortunately for Zoc, he has absolutely no cannons to speak of. His natural is going to be so exposed to these Mutalisks. Thankfully, an observer immediately spotting the Mutas right now, so Zoc knows that Mutas are here. I would not be surprised to see a quick forge going up. Maybe Stalkers? Looks like, yeah, he is getting quick Stalkers here. He's just warped in about 4 Stalkers inside his natural. There they are. And he's quickly getting Blink as well, and that is viable. Blink Stalkers are fairly good against Mutalisk. And ho, look at this! Zoc has decided to go straight into a Dark Shrine, ladies and gentlemen. So Zoc realizing he is so far behind in this game now after losing all those probes. I mean, think about it. Dammaka has a 3rd hatchery coming up right now. Zoc is still on 2 bases, and Zoc has barely only like 5 more harvesters than the Zerg player, so he's immediately going into Dark Shrine to try to even out the terms of this game by basically cheesing Dammaka and surprising him with DTs. Zerglings here are gonna bust down the other pair of rocks, and like I said, this makes the natural expansion, the 3rd natural right here, much more vulnerable to some kind of a flood of Zerg units. So Dammaka is just kind of modulating the terrain, terraforming it, if you will, to contour it into a way that it will be advantageous for him in the late game. He's opening up all these corridors. He's allowing himself to get flanking routes to attack the Protoss player when he decides to move out. Little does he know that there is a Dark Shrine coming up, and I hope for Dammaka's sake that he has Overseers. Yes, he does. So I think he should be really well prepared for any DTs whatsoever. Lings are very quick. Mutalisks are also quite speedy as well, and they should be able to pick off any Dark Templars with ease. And it almost seems like Dammaka is prepared for DTs. I mean, he made this Overseer, and he's making his wall of crawl already. Hold that thought. 4 DTs are now out, and we'll just have to see what damage these Dark Templars do. This is Zoc's hope. This is basically he's resting on the shoulders of these 4 hero Dark Templar, and if they do not do the damage that they need to do, then Zoc, I just do not see him getting back in this game because he's committed to this tech route. He's committed himself into Dark Templars, and these DTs need to do serious damage, but an Overseer already there to foil the plans and thwart these hero Dark Templars. The Mutalisk, along with the Overseer, should be easily able to pick off these DTs, and immediate spread by Zoc, so he can keep whatever DTs he has alive to do whatever damage they can, immediately going into this natural, but gets picked off. And 1 Dark Templar here, and 1 Dark Templar here. And I have to say that was not successful in the least bit. And Dammaka here is just riding a wave to victory. Even has a Zealot, a spy inside the Protoss ball here. I don't know if Zoc even realizes that. I feel like Zoc may be just completely off his game right now. It honestly feels like he is playing at a much lower level than we're used to seeing him play. Another DT gets picked off. A hatchery going up here, but I think that will get sniped by the Dark Templar. I feel like now it's Zoc's turn to drop the ball, who is now going into Templar tech, High Templar tech that is, So he's trying to get High Templars out for Storm so he can storm the Mutas and Lings, which I do agree with. But, oh man, I just don't know if anyone can do it though. I think Zoc can. If he can snipe this hatchery, that would be a nice little blow to the Zerg player. I'm almost sure though that Damaga will cancel the hatchery before it goes down. And actually an Overseer coming in here. Will the Overseer be in time to save the hatchery? Oh, forcing the cancel there. Just a split second away. But the drone will immediately go back to rebuilding that hatchery. And not too much loss for Damaga, who is controlling the map quite nicely. Looks like Zoc now is thinking about pushing out and securing his third. Now here's the problem though. This ramp has been destroyed, like I said before, allowing the Zerg player to flood in from any direction he pleases, and he may even snipe this Nexus before it gets cancelled or it's successfully defended. No, it will get cancelled in time, but not defended, and Zoc is contained inside 2 bases. This is such a rough situation for our Protoss player. That's what he needs to do though, drop the Storm down and hopefully kill off these Mutalisks. If he can pick off all these Mutalisks with one very well placed storm or a very well placed carpet storming, then he will have a pretty good shot. All he needs to do is just do what he did in game 2, carpet storm the Mutalisks, game 3, and then push out with his big army and hopefully do some kind of last minute desperation push. Here we go though, Storm's getting laid down, not enough Storms though to pick off the rest of these Mutalisks, and the Stalkers immediately blinking back. Zealots trying to fend for themselves here against the Mutalisks overhead, but that's not going to happen anytime soon, as all the Zealots have just been annihilated. Oh man, an Archon in the mix. Archons are actually really good against Mutalisks, guys. Look at these Mutalisks. They are so weak. One Templar Storm here could do so much damage, but unfortunately, Zoc does not have any Templars. He's warping in more Stalkers. I'm not sure why he decided to warp in Stalkers. Oh my goodness, one good Storm here could just wipe the floor with all these Mutas, and he has enough gas, or he did have enough gas, so he decided to build Stalkers. Oh no. Zoc here. He is not looking too good. The Nexus once again will be destroyed. And Damaga has +2 weapons on his Mutalisks. Everything is going great right now for Damaga. He has 4 bases up and running. He's not even bothering to go into Hive Tech, as you guys can see. Zoc here finally making a couple Templar. They do not have enough energy for Storm. That's because the Kydarian Amulet upgrade was not researched in time. And so they will have to wait for that crucial energy. That was why Zoc could not warp in Templar, is because he didn't have the Kydarian Amulet, so he would have just warped in Templar for no reason whatsoever. But now he has made some Templar. Storm will be absolutely crucial in holding off the Mutalisk wave. Zoc here is on the precipice of losing and dropping down to the 3rd place. Damaga is on the cusp of winning this game. He is so close, he can smell it. He has 188 supply over Zoc's 90 supply, 200 over 90 right now, and you gotta attribute this ginormous lead for Damaga to his brilliant Zergling sneak in, and really Zoc's kind of fumbling the ball there and allowing those Zerglings to get in and do so much damage, and that's just showing how a small mistake can have a snowball effect in StarCraft 2. That's why these small mistakes are practice and practice and practice again and again and again for these pro players not to make them. But alas, they still happen from time to time. Now, I don't want to discount Zoc yet because, as you guys recall, Zoc was desperately behind in game 2, but he was able to come back and make some magic happen, almost winning that game. Here we go, though. Roach is coming in once again. Mutalisks flying in, getting stormed a little bit. And once again, another storm getting laid down. Not going to do much damage, though, as those Mutalisks quickly fly away. Zoc, oh man. Not GGing out of this game yet, because he knows that if he GGs, that is it. He may have some kind of hope by staying in this game. If he can land some perfect storms, that is what it's going to take. But unfortunately now with Roaches out on the field, storms do not do so good against Roaches, especially when they have Burrow. You can just easily Burrow to mitigate that storm damage. But yeah, Zoc now pulling probes out the line. This is what he did in game 3. He pulled probes along with his army. He did a desperation push, and it almost worked out towards the end of the game. Probes here getting in to tank some of that damage. Storms brutalizing those Mutalisks there, but not enough follow-up storm, which means the majority of the Mutalisks remain alive. Damaga almost a shot there, almost taking out the rest of that Zerg army, but not quite enough. And unfortunately, he has starved himself out now. He has no more gas, guys. what he has on his army, what he has on the field right now is pretty much all he's going to get. He has sacrificed the majority of his probes. He doesn't have any more income. He just has to hold off this attack, but things are looking very bleak. Damag has been allowed inside the main, or the natural. The Zerg has breached the Protoss front door, and everything is falling apart right now. Even Changeling's getting pooped down by the Overseers. Kind of like a taunt and Zoc. GG's out of here. Well played by both these players. What an incredible series of StarCraft 2. And with that, Zoc is knocked out of the grand finals, and he's actually in the 3rd place. Damaga is gonna be playing Straylock. It is gonna be a Zerg versus Terran grand finals. That is coming up after this, and also the 3rd place matchup will be Sen versus Zoc. That is going to be a Protoss versus Zerg 3rd place matchup. And I cannot wait to get that underway. I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. Make sure you guys support me by just clicking that yellow button to subscribe. It really means a lot to me. And as always, I'm always reading those comments out there, taking criticism to heart, always trying to improve my cast, and make sure you guys get the best enjoyment out of these videos. So thanks a lot, guys. The tournament is nearing its conclusion, and what an incredible game of StarCraft 2. Congratulations, Damaga, and we'll see how you do in the grand finals.